Hey guys, it's Keiana. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be kind of different. I've been seeing this trend going around on YouTube and it's a video titled, I don't have a dream job. I watched the first one, I think sometime at the end of March, and I've been seeing a couple since, and I kind of just want to give my take because obviously there are a lot of things in these videos that I can relate to. If you watch my videos, you definitely know this, but there are also some things that I feel like I can add to the conversation that isn't often said. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. And if you feel similarly or have any thoughts on it, feel free to comment them down below. But yeah, let's just get into the video. So if I'm being very honest, a lot of the videos on these topics I've watched, I haven't really watched them in entirety, especially after watching the first one. The first one I watched was by Lynnette Adkins. I'm gonna list all the videos that I watched in the description, by the way, but her video really talked about she just doesn't want to work 9 to 5 for the rest of her life. She wants to travel. She wants to live this fun, free life. I don't want to summarize her video incorrectly. The truth is I watched this like a month or two ago and I haven't watched it again since. I just finally decided that I want to do my own version of this video, so feel free to check out her video. But the whole idea is that, you know, a lot of people are kind of frustrated with being stuck in the system, having to work jobs that they don't really want to do because of capitalism, and truthfully would just kind of prefer to have more freedom in their lives. So whether that be having the opportunity to travel more or just wake up and paint and cook and just do whatever you want, it's kind of just this conversation about lack of freedom because you have to step into a job, work for corporations that you don't truly want to be a part of, but you kind of have no choice to be a part of in order to survive in the world. So before we jump into the video, I feel like it's good to give some context of my background just so you guys can understand my perspectives a bit more. I'm 23 years old. I just graduated from university. I grew up in Jamaica and left when I was 17. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to be a doctor, but when I turned, I think like 13, I decided, I don't want to do that, but I still wanted to do something in the STEM field. So I decided to study math. And I knew I wanted to be an actuary. So that's what I ended up doing. I majored in actuarial science when I moved to Canada, and I have a job lined up later on this year. So having graduated, of course, there comes a lot of like thoughts. Primarily, shit, I just graduated. Is this what I really want to do for the rest of my life? Do I want to work in this company 40 hours a week, every week, until I retire, I guess, for the rest of my life? And truthfully, the answer is no. Ideally, I remember I've always said, I love the career that I'm stepping into, but I hate having to work 40 hours a week, specifically between the hours of 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 or 7 to 3, only because sometimes that can be very time restricting. And I've always said that, and I'm open and honest about that, but I just kind of understood that it's a part of life. But obviously, as I've gotten older, I've also seen that there are a lot of people online that seem to have this dream life, especially a lot of influencers. I grew up watching a lot of YouTube videos, so I obviously see a lot of people that they tell their stories that they dropped out of school and they were able to focus on their YouTube, and YouTube makes them more money than a lot of people in these 9 to 5 jobs even make. And I was like, shit, like I kind of want that freedom. I kind of want that luxury. I don't want to work 9 to 5 when I could just take pictures of my outfits and get a bunch of views and make a lot of money, right? But don't get me wrong, I'm eager to start my job. Like, I actually really enjoy my career. It's just that I do honestly get kind of jealous when I see that other people have all this free time to themselves, and I know that 40 hours of my week is going to be kind of dedicated to making someone else's business or their dreams come true, as opposed to doing something for myself directly, So in 2019, before I even got my job, obviously, 'cause I only got my job offer more recently, I wanted to lean into this idea that a lot of people present, which is finding your passion and working towards what you would consider your dream job. And I actually did that. I pursued this passion project, and really quickly, I kind of realized how expensive and tiring and work and stress comes with pursuing this passion project. And it really just hit me that it's not always good to monetize your passions, which is the idea that a lot of people sell when they tell you, especially when you're working a 9 to 5 job or even like a job in teaching or construction or whatever it is. People kind of like to tell you, follow your dreams, do what makes you happy, turn your passion into a career. And you can't always monetize your passions, and it's not always good for you mentally. I think personally with the passion project that I was pursuing, which I really would consider my dream job, it still takes a lot of money and work to get it to where I would want to be, right? And it can be really emotionally taxing, especially because you feel so connected to it. So long story short, pretty soon I realized that this whole dream job doesn't even really exist, because what I consider to be my passion as a job, I hated that. And it was kind of in that moment I realized I don't care what kind of job I have, as long as I have a job that makes me happy and offers me freedom and time flexibility. Because if we're being honest, your job is not your identity. When I think about my ideal life and what I want to come from life, I'm not going to associate it with I'm Keiana and I'm an actuary. I'm going to kind of associate it with I'm Keiana and I was able to have time to travel outside of my job. I'm Keiana and I was able to support my family with the money that I made from my job. And those are the things I kind of want more so associated with my name. I don't really care if I work as a bartender, teacher, as an actuary. I don't care. As long as I'm in a job that I enjoy the environment, then I'm cool. Furthermore, and we can talk about 9-to-5s in another video, but it's kind of nice having a job that, you know, every 2 weeks you're guaranteed a certain amount of income and you can pursue your passion projects on the side if you want, you know? But I feel this whole idea of trying to pursue this dream job and dedicating all your energy to pushing your passions and feeling like that's gonna make you happier, it's just a big facade. But obviously this is just my perspective. There obviously are people out there that they really seem to enjoy these dream jobs that they've created for themselves. But I even think about like how I have a YouTube channel now. If I was to quit my job and I had to just focus on YouTube, I don't know if I would necessarily be happier, as opposed to I would just start thinking of it like, okay, this is a business and I just have to do what I have to do, you know? I think it's easy to get caught up in the lifestyle that other people have and kind of romanticize about what they do and just assume it's not as hard. But if you really think about it, and I'll give an example outside of the typical lifestyle, beauty, fashion influencers, even a lot of the van life YouTubers that people admire and aspire to be like, or even those YouTubers that live in the mountains. Let's use an example like Isabel Page. I don't know how many people watch that YouTuber, but I discovered her last year. She lives in the mountains alone, and people are always commenting under her videos like, wow, I want to have this life someday and blah blah blah. But she still works hard. She gets up every day at like 5 a.m. and she's like farming and doing all this stuff on her land and all this stuff, and it's like, I would rather work 9 to 5 than do that, because that's not necessarily the type of work that I aspire to end up doing. And I think a lot of people kind of just think about, they want the lifestyle of being able to live in the mountains and have that freedom and, you know, be a free spirit. But everything in life still involves working, you know? And that's unfortunate, because we probably weren't meant to have to work like that so hard all the time. But just based on how the system is, that's just kind of how it is. In every aspect of our life, there's still work to be done. Just because I'm more solution based, I think the real thing is that you kind of have to find jobs that you really do enjoy, which is a privileged statement to make. So for me, because I guess I'm in this position where I can kind of get to pick my job, and considering I don't think a dream job exists, there's certain things that I just make sure I look for when I'm choosing where to work. And a big thing with that is work culture, work environment, like everything about the company and how the company treats its workers, making sure I'm working somewhere where I'm not necessarily overworked, I can make decent money and have a life outside of work. Because I think the issue is that a lot of people, you know, it's just stress. Like you work so hard and you feel like you barely have time to yourself, because your life just starts to revolve around work. And once again, your job is not your identity. I just think it's so important to pick jobs that give you time back. But I think what we also need to focus on is how to manage our money and how to redistribute our wealth as well, which I know a lot of people just, they feel as if they're not rich enough to redistribute their wealth. But just imagine if someone was giving you an extra $100 per month, or you were receiving an extra $100 a month. The reality is a lot of people, you know, they always say, when I make more money, I really want to give back. And they don't. They really don't. And to help people out of some of the issues that they have, to end the cycle of this, and to get back to the people that aren't as privileged to just pick jobs that that they want. It's like, that's where supporting your community can be so helpful. You know, not everyone just gets to choose whichever job makes them happy, especially if you think about, I don't know, like even single mothers that maybe got pregnant at a young age. Maybe they just weren't able to go to school, for example, like university. So, you know, just based on how society's already structured, a lot of jobs are probably already out of reach. And that's just why I'm saying, like, it's just such a bigger issue, because it also goes back to how support is being given from the government and the people that are in power, but we're not going to talk about that. But it just feels as if the responsibility of helping other people is on the other citizens as opposed to our leaders. But that's why it's also important to choose your leaders wisely, and not just people that you like as people, but people that have good plans and policies. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, giving back to the community is a big factor in solving or helping to solve some of these issues, but also on a more personal level, managing your money well. At the end of the day, even saving towards buying some big flashy house isn't gonna make you happy. We idolize all these little things and feel like we'll only become happy when we get a big house, get a new car, and all of this stuff. And it really isn't that. And that's just a big mindset shift that a lot of people really need to truly understand, and myself included. How can I use this money that I make from this job, that's just a job, to give myself a better life that I want, that's closer to my dream life? Because it's not so much the dream job, but it's more so the dream life. So just to close off, I feel like this video, I probably maybe went a bit off tangent, but I think with conversations like these, they're just so layered that it's hard not to just kind of shift gears when you talk about some of these things. But I think this conversation kind of comes back to figuring out what that dream life you want is, and finding ways to implement or incorporate aspects of that life into your current situation. And also just not being selfish with your money, but also learning to support other people as well. You know, in the olden days, community was just such a big aspect for many people, and I feel like a lot of people, especially now that I live in Canada, just don't care as much about supporting their community. Instead, we're just here to flex and show how much better we are than other people. And that is kind of why we're in a lot of the issues we are in today, not just the corporations, but even as individuals. A lot of the things that we buy, a lot of the things that we work toward, it's not even for ourselves so much as it is just to show other people what we have. And that's just such a big problem in itself, you know? So at the end of the day, my final message here: find a job that can support the lifestyle that you want. Your job doesn't need to be the end all be all. It's nice to just have a job that supports you financially, keeps you stable, but still gives you room to be happy in your personal life. Your job is not your identity. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, thumbs down if you didn't, I don't know, and I'll see you guys in the next video.